Endometriosis, PCOS, and circumcision on today's show. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ross Skorzewski, the host of the Dr. Patrick Flynn Show, once again in Green Bay, live from our studio. Joining me today, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Dr. Patrick Flynn, also known as the Hormone Whisperer, the man who can speak to your hormones better than anybody else I know on this big ball of dirt. Hey, my friend.
I love big ball of dirt.
Big ball of dirt.
That's awesome.
Well, really, it's all it is. I mean,
yes.
Sand in some places, but hey, we're back in the studio.
We are.
And we had a phenomenal week last week, traveling to some of our offices, spent some time with Josh Axe, but here we are. It's going to be a great episode today. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And
got to see actually Dr. Dale too last week.
Dr. Dale Brown, the Wild Doc. We want to encourage you, even as I did last week, go back onto Dr. Patrick Flynn's page, and you can go back to last week. Yeah, on this very page right now, you can go back and see the show that they did together live, talking about
vaccines.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great 2-hour-long show that they did, addressing a lot of questions.
And we didn't even get to half the stuff we wanted to.
True story. Very true. And also then we spent time with Dr. Justin Mosley, Dr. Shea, and Dr. Courtney and their staff over at Music City Health Center in Nashville.
Yep.
And then, like we said, you were spending some time in the studio with Dr. Josh Axe.
Yep. It was an actually incredible week. And then I actually headed up to Greenville, South Carolina, then ended up in Asheville, North Carolina. Got to tour, Genova Laboratories, because there's certain labs that we use. We use a bunch of different labs because they each have their specialties that way and stuff. So I got to actually go see, and actually got to see some of the microbes and some of the major technologies there that are just doing an amazing job checking people at an extremely extensive level that most people are not checking. So I got to hang out with Genova Laboratories and their team and Dr. Goldman, which was fantastic, and ran around him and talked to the microbiologist and the immunologist and all things like that. So it was kind of cool. And it's easy for me to speak that language because, once again, I'm still a practitioner, a clinician every day.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's kind of exciting.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today for this next episode. I was going to say episode. I call it edition episode. Whatever. What episode are we on now, by the way? 69. That is a long time. It seems like it was just yesterday that we started this show, but we're changing constantly. But do me a favor. Let us know where you are today. If you're watching this show right now, go online in the comments section. Let us know where you're coming from. Maybe you're watching in Nashville. Maybe you're watching in Oregon. Maybe you're watching in Florida. Just let us know where you are. And if you have any questions along the way, do not hesitate. Submit them, and we'll try to answer them as we go along here. But like I said, today we're going to be talking about PCOS, endometriosis, as well as a very touchy topic, circumcision.
Circumcision.
Yes, so the question that I want to start off with you really quick here, Doc, is a simple one, but I don't know if it's really that simple because it's a question that I think a lot of people would possibly have, thus the reason we're answering it. Is endometriosis and PCOS reversible, and are they similar?
Yes and yes. Okay, so let's start there. Let's give you the answers at the end that way. See, it's kind of funny because if you read about PCOS just in general, because recently I just read a research article. Because here's one thing, that the physiology and biochemistry never changes. It really doesn't. But what happens is the how medicine and how the teams actually study it, medical research, they always come from an end stage result. PCOS, and how do we manage it? And so they'll say that it's not reversible. I hate the word because I think it's a wrong word. It's not curable and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it is reversible. Every condition's reversible. It always is and always can be that way. And so yes. Now, the funny part is, one of the major aspects of PCOS end result is infertility and cancer. Now, it's really funny. Endometriosis comes from a total different, hormonal combinations and inflammatory combinations that way. But here's the funny thing of this. Guess what some of the main things are that people suffer with when they have endometriosis?
Severe
infertility and cancer.
Oh, okay.
Uterine cancer.
I didn't know if you were going to go to other symptoms that come along with cramping or anything like that.
That can be very similar. That's why there's different criteria for both of them that way. Clinically, they have some same things, but I'll tell you this: I can actually show you women that suffer with PCOS and women that suffer with endometriosis, and believe it or not, their labs are very similar. It's just that, once again, it's how their body's affected by those changes.
So endometriosis, PCOS, so that's PCOS stands for?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the difference between the two?
Well, if you really think of it this way, endometriosis is actually the endometrial lining of the uterus actually can get very thick, hardened, and actually a lot of it won't actually even leave the woman's body that way, so they won't menstruate. And once again, and on the flip side, you could actually have them menstruate way too heavily and become anemic and things like that. One thing that, and I don't know if I told you about this, but this Saturday, I'm doing my quick tip, but we got to call it a long tip. Okay, so we're gonna do a long tip.
Yeah, if you're going an hour and 20 minutes, that's not really quick.
Well, when I did testosterone last week, the detail I wanted to get so people could actually take action on their stuff right away, I couldn't do it in less than an hour. Do you understand? Do you understand that when I teach a hormone seminar, I can teach a hormone seminar for 12 hours a day, both days, and I still, I'm still
missing
a ton,
information. Yes,
a ton. I could basically teach a week straight, 12 hours a day, and I think I'd get all the information in. So for me to take endometriosis, take PCOS, take any fertility aspect, take any hormonal issue that way, it's hours. So I did testosterone. I said to Brandon, we're here. I said, Brandon, we're gonna try to get this done in 20 minutes. Well, an hour and 6 minutes later, I was just hitting that, because you have to really come at from a different approach. Because once again, like testosterone, the biggest fallacy in medicine today is your testosterone goes down as you get older. Now, the sad part is this: PCOS, I just read, like I said, the research article, between 20 and 30% of women right now are being diagnosed with it. That means 2 out of 3 women right now are being diagnosed with some form of PCOS, okay? And the sad part is this: well, look what happens. You see fertility problems and uterine cancer. I mean, come on now. We got to start looking at this, because there's just way too much cancer being about that way. So is there similarities? Yes. Is it reversible? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there things that can be done? Yes. Can they be drastically different? Yeah. PCOS can be dominated by the follicles.
Absolutely. But isn't that still kind of, to your train of thought that we've talked about before, it's the wrong kind of question?
Yeah.
Well, if you're working on reversing, or are they the same? What are they really looking for by asking that question?
Well, they're looking for, it's like anything. I guarantee even during a show, I will get, Doc, what are some of your remedies? What are some of your procedures? What is this? Now, it's not a joke. I will do this consistently. Nancy, I want you to do me a favor there. Nancy, I want you to post the 2 things: where to get the Dutch test from and where to do the thyroid hormones lab that way. And it's a complete, if you get those 2 testings done, it's a complete perspective. And if your medical doctor does it, or your endocrinologist, or your functional medicine doctor, or whoever does it that way, I will tell you right now, those groups and us will come up with a very different approach.
Sure.
You understand? And that's where it's like, and see, the cool thing is this, what I've always told everybody, I say, listen, they'll say, well, Doc, why are you saying that how you approach it's very different? Well, remember, 20 years ago, endometriosis or PCOS wasn't at 2 to 3 out of 10 women. It wasn't at 20, 30% of women. All these health and hormonal conditions are dramatically increasing like crazy, and we're sitting there going, we don't know what to do.
Right.
And even though we've taken people, here, it's really hilarious. I had a person, because I still see some patients on Monday, but I've seen these people for a long period of time because I don't take any new patients or anything. And the woman said to me, she's like, hey, Patrick. Yeah, if you know me for a long time, people call me Patrick. And
just don't call you Patty.
Oh, I hate Pat. It drives me nuts.
There's a couple people.
Still some people over high
Patty.
school call me Pat. I'm like, my name's not Pat. Okay, drives me nuts.
Yes.
But anyways, get this. And she said, aren't you getting excited to see that the culture's changing? I said, it's not changing. It's only getting worse.
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean more people are eating healthy? I said, no, they're not. Actually, just because they threw a salad in their diet doesn't mean that they're eating healthy.
Yes.
Or I throw a smoothie in there, because what happens is statistically, women are getting sicker, men are getting sicker. We're not getting any better. We're actually getting worse. So this whole idea, do you understand? Think of it this way. When I even started in Green Bay 20 years ago, to get a milk alternative, it was tough to even get rice milk.
Right.
Now there's 50 different.
Yes.
There really is. And they're all good. I'm very happy to have that. But statistically, even with all those great alternatives to dairy and stuff like that, women's health care is still getting worse.
Yes.
And it's not because the products aren't there. The same things that we use today have been there for hundreds of years. It's just that how they're approaching it, the way they think about it, it's never going to change.
So how do you really address then the young woman or maybe middle-aged or older woman when they're talking about PCOS, wanting to reverse it? Talk to me about what that pattern looks like. Yes, we know possibly, obviously testing has to be done first.
Testing will actually give me a guide, but the idea is this. I'm a tour guide. You have to take the tour.
Yes.
Do you say I'm?
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's what happens. You pay for the tour.
I got to step up and pay for the tour.
You got to pay for the tour. Do you say I'm?
That's right.
And you're going to pay me money. You're going to pay people money. I know it just made half the audience really uncomfortable with that. Well, guess what? You get what you pay for. How's your insurance doing for you?
Exactly.
Your insurance is making you sick. Don't believe me? Statistically, women, look at your OBs and everything they're doing to you.
That's right.
See, I can be more direct now because I'm so frustrated now with the other end of the spectrum of going where people say my doc said this. I don't care.
Yeah.
Your doctor contributes to why 2 out of 3 women, or 2 to 3 out of 10 women actually have some form of PCOS now. If he was good at what he did or she was good at what she did, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
And so what happens is so I said, so we can actually, the first thing is I want you to understand, we will guide you through that process, but here's the biggest thing. This is not a joke. Let's just look at PCOS in a way. PCOS sometimes has a little bit of domination with testosterone for a woman. Now, endometriosis, you're going to have a little bit more estrogen dominance that way, but even you can also have estrogen dominance in PCOS. If you look at it this way, if sugar metabolism is a issue with you creating PCOS, you have to cut it out. And there's no doubt that that's probably one of the toughest things. So I can take you on the tour, but if you don't get off the bus and go check it out, man, you got to do the work.
Yeah.
And see what they want. They look and say, that's
they
why
want
people
the comfort of the ride, but they don't want to actually get out and have to do the action steps.
I can honestly tell you, I couldn't sleep much last night for some reason. I think I was so jacked up for our training today and things like that. And I literally, what I always love to do is I kind of watch what everybody else is doing, and I kind of giggle a little bit because I literally watched probably 20 videos from 1:30 a.m. till 5:30 just on PCOS alone. And it's really funny. The majority of them were, here's an oil.
Sure.
Here's an herb. Here's a medication.
A quick remedy.
Here's metformin. Here, for example, is birth control. Here. And it was always engagement of what these people could be taking. And some of their links sold at the other end. Do you see? I mean, it's why, for example, on this show, there's no way we can say, Doc, what's your approach to PCOS? And here is the magic thing I'm going to give you that's going to change it and be different. That's the part that won't succeed.
Yes.
So that's why if you ever look at it this way, if you think of it this way, when I'm telling Nancy to actually post about the labs, because that's where it's got to start.
Yes.
But the labs give me the bus. Labs give me how I can drive you and get you to where you need to go.
Yes.
But what happens is if a woman comes in with massive amount of certain estrogen problems with the labs being off that way, well then I'm going to set up the plan. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a great roadmap. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm there to give you a roadmap. Jump on the bus. We'll take you. But you have to get off of each stop.
Yeah.
And that takes effort.
Yeah, and we're seeing that happen, though, with this show, with all of our other offices and the doctors from their offices even going out and starting to talk about these issues.
Yep.
People are actually taking action.
Yep.
I really do. I wish the number was greater, and I know you do, too, from doing this for 20 years, that people are tired of not getting the results that they want,
Yeah.
especially for women too. But you made a great point a couple of shows ago, especially when we were starting to talk about, breast cancer awareness and early detection.
Yep.
You can even begin to prevent PCOS or endometriosis with that whole concept of don't wait until you're in your 20s or your 30s to even begin to be concerned about this.
Yep.
Test early.
Well, it's like this. People say, Doc, you repeat the same things. I will stop repeating the same things when the action steps are taken different.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you half the audience right now watching probably hasn't had both those labs done yet. Do you see him?
Yes.
And that's the big part. So it's like, people go, well, Doc, where do I start? Well, there. And the reason why I always tell people to start there is you don't need a doc to do it.
Do you think that there is an underlying element of fear for some of these women
A lot of
from
women
stepping
don't want to know.
out? Exactly.
A lot of women don't want
to
to know.
that. So,
they
but
said, I don't want to get the
ignorance
labs.
is not bliss.
No, because ignorance leads to actually more progression of what you're dealing with that way. And that endometriosis, that PCOS, once again, can turn to cancer. It's been documented extremely well. All evidence shows if that's left.
Yes.
That's why even doctors, what they'll do is they'll use fear.
Yeah.
If you don't take this metformin, the PCOS can turn to cancer. I agree with them. I agree with them 100%.
Right, exactly.
All the evidence shows that. The sad part is here's what happens. Think about this. Here, I always tell people, let's say if you look at what they even want to do with Christy that way, my wife, they want to remove organs, but here's what happens. It's kind of funny. Let's even go with this. I want you to give you a different concept once, okay? So one of the major contributors to PCOS, and we're going to cover this in great detail, is actually insulin resistance. So actually sugar problems. It's actually why men's testosterone is so off that way. So watch this. Watch this, not a joke. So let's take PCOS, and a woman has it. And a lot of times they'll end up taking out do a full hysterectomy. Okay? Here's what happens. Your PCOS gone, but your insulin resistance is still there. So they never addressed even one of the major causal factors.
Right, exactly.
Now, that's not the only causal factor. There's 3 major causal factors. I'm going to go in great detail on this on Saturday. Okay? But there's 3 major causes, for example, why women can actually develop PCOS. And that's why when people say, they'll say, and if you look at Mayo Clinic, well, there's no cure, there's no reversing it. No, there's no reversing it from their thought process.
Right.
Mayo Clinic has no idea what PCOS. They just have those end stage reactions that way. But the idea is this, it's kind of funny. It's hilarious, but they do talk about insulin and sugar. So what they do is instead of telling the patient, get rid of those Skittles.
Right, alter
get
your
rid of those
diet.
things that way.
Right, exactly.
They say, no, here's metformin. Well, no, stop metformin. It's ridiculous. Don't do it. It's bad for you.
You're just enabling that bad behavior.
Remember, medications allow bad behavior.
Yes.
Medications do. Do you say M? Antidepressants allow people to not deal with their crap.
Right.
I actually have a guy that really told me that he was on antidepressant, and this is why he knew he had to come and get some care. He was on antidepressant, and he had a family member die, and he was at the funeral, and he felt nothing. He felt nothing. That's what they do. See, that's why people say antidepressants work. Yeah, they don't work. They numb you.
It suppresses you.
And so I understand.
Exactly.
I understand you don't want to feel like crap. And so he got off of them. We tested his testosterone levels and vitamin D was pitifully low, and we started to build it back up, and he actually became normal again. Do you say? So actually, antidepressants, any medications, and once again, I have no problem with them short time, but don't live there because they'll actually destroy you. Who said so? The medications
it's your
themselves.
whole fireman carpenter principle that you talk about, and all of our doctors do every couple of weeks at their inflammation talks, and even at your hormone talk. Absolutely.
Well, that's the perspective, and I promise you, I remember when we first started to develop all these concepts a long time ago that way before anybody except for even Dr. Jason was. I think I got Dr. Jason about maybe 15 years, so probably about 3 or 4 years in the practice that way. I had to already start developing all these concepts and everything way before that, so then people could understand what I was talking about. Because otherwise people just thought we were the natural, they thought our videos would be the same thing. It's like, so I was watching all these PCOS videos last night, and I kid you not, I watched over 20 of them, because they range anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 minutes, and I was kind of laughing, I'm like going, you're all saying the same thing. Right. You're fighting for the space that's saying, and the majority of them were, okay, here's this magic treatment, here's this thing, here's what you can take, and here's our link to buy it. How's that working for us? 2 out of 3 women are still on PCOS. Do you understand that we have more information? People say information is power. No, it's not. If that was the case, everybody would be rich, skinny, and healthy.
You're basically, it's just like the Matrix in an essence. If you think about it, if the information is power.
It's time for people to take the red pill.
That's right. Unplug. Yes.
And take control. When I give you the red pill, don't expect the red pill to open it up. It's just going to open your eyes.
Yes.
Do you understand? And that's the thing that, that's why, the one thing that I absolutely love about our culture and stuff, and remember, and culture is just people that stand for the same kind of thing that way, is the fact that we all have different personalities. So how I deliver it and how another doc will deliver it will be dramatically different, but we're saying the same things.
Yes, the core principles are the same.
Because some people don't like the way I deliver it.
Right.
I mean, that's why if you ever look, the book itself gets attacked, my seminar gets attacked, but on the flip side, it gets praised like it's the best seminar on the planet.
Yes.
Do you, Sam? And but see, the only thing why the Hormone Connection Seminar is a little more personal to me is because my story is interwoven in there.
Yes.
You know, that's why it's said. And so it's kind of cool because when I get back from Hawaii in December, we're going to announce our big thing that's happening and stuff, because I will be in Hawaii.
I was going to say, announce the big thing that's happening.
Yes.
Are you expecting another child?
No. I wish, you're saying. It's kind of funny because me and my wife always talk about this. My wife, once again, her hormones are amazing. She's doing amazing that way. And but you know, I'm 44 and 42 now that way. It's even extremely healthy. A baby's tough on the body. And it's much easier to have a baby at 26 than it is at 42. So it's like, now we love having our 4 girls and stuff like that. It's like, but it's kind of funny because yesterday I was holding the baby that I adjusted yesterday, and I'm like going, oh, and it was just a cute little baby, and actually it was just it brings you back on, man, I have no babies anymore. You know
so a quick reversal, just kind of close off that first half. So endometriosis and PCOS similar in nature, and reversible.
Yes.
reversible to the point of not displaying symptoms?
Well, remember, that's where a lot of this stuff is diagnosed. But
Okay.
once again, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, PCOS and endometriosis have different physiological, different tissue dynamics. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Some of the end results can be the same, and some of the hormones can actually same hormones can cause the same problems that way. But an endometrial lining being thicker and there being a fibroid in the fallopian tube, or the fibroid in the vaginal lining, or fibroid in the ovary itself that way, which where most of them happen. But it's like endometriosis. Endometriosis, people realize, they made a mistake when they actually termed endometriosis. They made a mistake when they actually termed PCOS. Because let me give you an example. Endometriosis by alone, if you look at the term, endometrial lining oocyst buildup. But they didn't realize, because of technology, that it travels. So it can end up in the pelvis, it can end up in the GI. That's why you see women actually, when they go in for endometrial surgery, they would scrape up the endometriosis off of their intestinal tract. Okay? PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, actually the funny part is this, it really should be, instead of a cyst, it should be called a fibroid. Because the follicles, so it's really a follicle, polycystic, ovarian syndrome that way. It should be almost like a polyfibro. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what it is, it's a
Fibroid issue.
Well, what it does is the primordial follicle. So it's more of a follicle development and stuff, and they don't dissipate out, but they can travel in the fallopian tubes, they can travel in the vaginal lining that way. So PCOS isn't just limited just to the ovary itself. So, yep.
Mind blowing.
Well, it's kind of funny because in my mind, I started joking.
I know
this is how crazy I am. Is
Yes.
I'm visualizing, because I've seen ultrasounds, I've seen the internal pictures of actually the vaginal lining with fibroids, with cysts, with endometriosis. I've seen uterus pictures. I mean, imaging of it that way. I've seen ovaries. I can just still picture in my mind. Do you know? I've literally seen thousands of them.
Yeah.
I've literally physically seen thousands of reports, and me and Nicole the other day were just looking at even a thicker endometrial lining. A woman couldn't get pregnant, and she was told everything's quite normal. And then I look at her uterine lining, and I'm like, "You got endometriosis really bad," because we saw it on ultrasound. We did ultrasound ourselves that way, and it's just thick as can be. In my mind, in my clinical mind, all I'm thinking is going, "Okay, once again, that's not normal.
Right.
That's not genetic. It's not your grandma's fault. It's not your mom's fault. It's not you didn't get that from your mom. You didn't get that from your grandma. You got the stupid habits that led to it from them and stuff like that. And so therefore, guess what happens? And a lot of people say, well, doc, there can be some genetic tendencies. Yes, but there can be genetic tendencies that make your body go a certain way only if you're bad.
Right. If you trigger them.
If you have the good habits for your body that way, your body's not programmed for bad.
Right.
Do you say?
Yep.
It's not programmed for bad. It just makes no sense. So yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Do you want to tackle this next question?
Which one?
One on circumcision.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, this is really good because
we're gonna do a long tip on that too. No pun intended.
Yes, no pun intended. And also, please join us after today's show on YouTube, because we're going to go into some more specific detail on this topic.
Yeah.
In the YouTube Uncensored. But here it is from a mother who is pregnant, and she said, I've been doing some looking into whether or not to circumcise my son when he is born. What are your thoughts?
Don't do it. Next question.
Why?
We'll cover that on Uncensored and stuff on that right after YouTube. So once again, we're going to go right to that circumcision question there. But I'll tell you right now.
Cultural influences? For sure.
The only reason if any doctor, let me give you this, okay? Because doctors will say really stupid stuff and they take it as gospel, okay? See, what happens is they're worried about one of the things they tell people now is they're worried about infections.
Sure.
Okay? It's like, man, if you don't have hygiene for a little boy, you're definitely not going to have hygiene for a little girl.
Right.
And just to give you an example, having 4 daughters and changing their diaper, there's sometimes they poop so bad. I mean, poop went up their back, go up the vagina, go up to their belly that way, and you have to clean the tissue out that way for.
And if you don't,
they're going to get infected.
Yes.
So the idea is this: it's no different than a little boy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and so this whole concept of hygiene. I mean, doctors are so ridiculous when all they do is repeat and program. And here's what happens. Now, it's going to sound horrible. It's like people say, well, doc, my child got a little infection there. Well, then do a better job being a parent.
Right.
Clean it up.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Then you weren't cleaning things right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If it was a guy older, You know, saying if a guy wasn't circumcised older and he gets, you know, some yeast growth in there and stuff like that, you're not going to yell at his mom and dad for not circumcising him.
Right.
You're going to say,
take care of
clean
yourself.
your willy. I'm honestly,
Yes.
it's like, so.
Free your willy and then clean him.
Here's what happens. We're going to cover this on uncensored so
Yes.
Facebook doesn't flag us that way.
Right.
But there's two major things that affects the male sexually that, once again, that women are missing out on. So
And we'll talk about that more.
We're going to cover that in about 5 minutes on Uncensored on YouTube Live.
You know, it's interesting, in these conversations that I get to have with you and with all of you that are watching, once again, thank you. The idea that the body was never genetically set up to fail, but yet we would think that potentially into X amount of days of a young child's birth, male, right, that we would choose to then hop in and make a decision to say, well, the body wasn't really designed to have this extra piece of skin, so let's take it off.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. And remember, it was just based on a Judeo-Christian view.
Beliefs, right?
You're saying that's all it was.
Yeah,
and you being
absolutely.
a pastor, you can talk about that. It's more of a cultural thing. And
That's
so
right.
and the biggest thing that women come for their defense on this, and especially guys mostly, they'll say, well, I don't want my son to look different.
Right.
And
Between Jew or Gentile, the whole circumcision of the heart. Thank God, which it is. If you choose to become a faith-based individual and pursue Christ now as an adult, you don't have to get a circumcision. It's more about the heart.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yes. So the idea of this is, and I said, listen, if your child is getting made fun of not circumcising that way, your family has bigger problems.
You got that right.
Do you say
Exactly.
it?
Yeah.
It's like, that's why all these things, they create this stuff in their mind, because doctors will say to them, I've heard doctors say, well, you don't want them to look different.
Right.
I'm like, and I say to the women, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, how many times is your guy going to show it, your boy going to show his willy to somebody?
Until he's in high school, and he should be fine, and he should have a healthy self-esteem by that point, too.
That's right.
So, don't do it, basically, is what he's saying, because really there's no benefit to doing it.
Well, I'm going to show an Uncensored where we can be a little bit more graphic and a little bit more push the envelope that way. I'm telling you right now, ladies, it's not a joke. Wait, Nancy, get the camera on me on this one. You ready for this one? Okay, ladies, let me tell you. It's not a joke. And if your husband's circumcised, too bad. But happens this. When they do circumcise, you're missing out on two important things that I'm going to cover on YouTube Live next on why circumcision actually should not be done. Do you say them?
And not only that, the problems with the surgical procedure even going wrong.
Oh, sure.
I've known children where scarring has gone
kids
wrong.
That died from it.
Yeah, so.
Now I don't really talk about that
right.
much on there about people dying, because you can die from a bee sting, you can die. So there's minimal that happens, but it does happen.
Yeah,
you're saying any surgical procedure is still a surgical procedure.
So with that, how do you want to wrap this one up today?
No pun intended?
No pun intended. Yeah, so once again, thank you for joining us on the show. Continue to watch, continue to like and share, and continue to share comments and ask questions with us, because you are what fuel our forward momentum. Your questions give us the ability to dive in and provide information for you, and hopes that you would actually do something with it.
Yep.
Because really, at the end of the day, information without action is just...
Well, it's knowledge. Remember, there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
We have people say knowledge is power. That's not really true.
Right.
Because here's what happens. Once again, we have so much knowledge today just from this alone.
Yes.
You get so much knowledge. If it was just knowledge, everybody would be wealthy, skinny, and happy.
Yep.
Because there's enough knowledge out there how to be happy, how to be rich, how to be skinny, how to be some of that. Has nothing to do with it. They said sometimes we are over knowledge and under wisdom.
Yep. You got to do something with the information.
Yeah, it's called wisdom.
That's being given to you. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're down to the last minute here, and I think we've pretty much covered all the bases, and I'm excited about the show that we're about to do on YouTube. So please, those of you that are able to spend that next 5, 10, 15 minutes with us, whatever it turns out to be over on YouTube, come and join us.
Yes.
If you're not able to, I'm very sorry, but you can go back to YouTube and you can watch it at another time.
Yes.
So with that, we will see you next week. Be thinking about doctors. Hey, you're going to travel and see Dr. Jeremy Maxwell.
Yes, I'll be in Columbia, Missouri.
Yes.
There's going to be, we got actually, Jeremy's texting me even as we are right now. We've got a huge crowd coming. We actually are selling, tickets are flying off the shelf right now like crazy and stuff. And because everybody waits till the last minute to buy half their tickets.
That's right.
And stuff. But we're going to be in Columbia, Missouri, the Hormone Connection Seminar. We got a huge crowd. Come join us. It's actually held at some, I don't even know the location, but it's at some church.
Yep. All I know is they're selling out like crazy. He's got a bunch of great vendors. So once again, if you're in the area, look it up, Maxwell Family Chiropractic.
Yep.
Dr. Jeremy Maxwell, the Hormone Whisperer, will be there live speaking.
I'll be getting there tomorrow.
Tomorrow
morning.
And possibly...
No, I'm gonna have to, I was thinking, because I love Halloween. Absolutely love Halloween.
You're going to go on the airplane?
I think I'm going to go on the airplane all dressed up.
You should.
It's going to be awesome. And then people are gonna be like, "Hey, nice costume."
Go
Like,
as
"What costume?"
Batman.
Oh, that one. I think I got a better one for the airport.
Oh no, I don't want to know what it is. Save it
pretty
for
awesome.
Uncensored. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. We'll see you next week. Join us on Uncensored coming up.